Most of us think your position is minuscule. Cook, clean, serve, all you was put here to do. Not realizing these qualities were put into you. Cause your leadership skills are natural. Don't believe me, Queen and Zinga led the war against them crackers, fool. My people sleep, so I teach, that's what a master do. Grew up with visions of chauvinistic theatricals. Now it's my mission to grab the culture and get back to you. So we can show the seeds what it is they have to do. Break the chains, runaway slave, they coming after you. Keep the men and women at odds and take the child too. Make sure she have more than one baby daddy, your dad'll do. 400 years later, no savior, they really lynched you. So take a listen, black woman, let me heal you. Any man that breaks you down really fears you. My elder Shabaka say what the women do, the men do. So when you start the revolution, we right here with you.
Almost. I want to make sure I get a picture of your screen on here.
Some swear the black woman ain't shit. I say this queen is everything, even the ratchets. You just forgot who you are. I'ma help you remember. You're the mother of civilization. From the light-skinned you to those darker than blue. Black woman, I never turn my back on you. You're beautiful without that perm. You're a queen without that weave. Love yourself, cause sister, I love you. Respect yourself, cause sister, I respect you. Apologies to those I disrespected before my mind was free. Let's take it back to go forward like Sankofa. Ride with me. She was here when we was kings, chilling on the throne. Proper placement up. Most respected, her needs never neglected, embracing her higher consciousness, the true essence, the procreator. From her I got my best blessing. My life she manifested, I'm forever indebted to her collection. Can't objectify her, she's more than breast and flesh skin. Think not the unique correction of your perception. I'm talking about the first wonder of the world's possessions. Here for more than cooking and cleaning. Without her man wouldn't truly experience being. Don't doubt her goddess ability of holding fertility. Just love her and preserve her identity. The black woman, when I see her, something gets into me. Beautiful inspiration like a pyramid. Amazing, brings out the best of me on occasion. They made her forget who she was, that's why I made this. Next time you're riding with your daughter, brother, play this.
Coming to bless us with his book, The Art of Black War Against a Black Enemy. And family, we gonna learn, we gonna build, and we gonna continue on the path that we have always been on GNJMedia journey. Let's get it and let's keep it moving. Peace.
Black woman, a black power. Black woman, a black power. Black woman, a black power.
Brothers and sisters, take a little time to really look at one another, then ask yourself, can we really afford to lose one another? We must understand that we are all we got. We're forgetting our past, blinded by crack and gun smoke. We must turn that mess around and make the other man choke. Down in flames, like the Hindenburg. One day I opened my ears. You wouldn't believe what I heard. They say your word ain't. See, you promised us great things, but only giving us a little bit. I keep your Star Stripe hat as a souvenir. The uncle is dead, but I'm not even gonna shed a tear. See, right now you're the big fish, but I'm the genie in the land, and then you get no wish.
Right.
Usually you get 3, but I'm taking 1 plus the 2 that you owe me. It's so hard to feel proud. While I shed a tear, you're still talking loud.
Can you hear the music?
I'll never get on a boat with the man because it reminds me of that great
But you was hearing it
master
before.
plan.
Oh, you was
I
hearing me
haven't
yell at my
forgotten
kids. That's what you was
the
hearing.
last cruise we took, we end up picking cotton. You tried to play me out like a sucker, but I survived to take back what's mine, your mother. So
I'm gonna let this song finish and we going.
Mama so light, cause all the
So
nuts
we
that
streaming
you
right
busted,
now.
You violated our blood and plagued us with acne. So who's the real savage race? Please tell me. What race is really your mind state? So the mess you bumped up is the mess you're gonna have to face. See why I'm so upset? Because you brainwashed my people, talking up the side of your neck. So I just sit back and light up a steam so to deal with the pains and the rage in the ghetto.
All right, family, we about to go. I got Earl Campbell Da III in the house. He ready to build. And we going to be talking about the art of black war against a black enemy. Listen, family, the brother's ready. I'm ready. We about to hit it and be on fire. And it's a good chance I might use my station today. Because this brother is serious. We don't be playing, we don't put in no foot
pole and in pale sand. The rage in my mind, it keeps me from crying. But
he just expressed the rage in the ghetto. Y'all hear the song?
Who I am, so I pick up an idol and become his biggest fan. Pattern myself to be just like Jack. I can have a big Cadillac slinging crack.
Oh, shouts out to Miss Jack. Welcome. Make sure y'all like and share. We about to get it. We're going to get into it.
Nobody can be trusted. I see with a shotgun and in my jock strap a small gap because I'm so damn scared.
I wanted to finish the song, but
to have melanin embedded in our skin is a gift. Oh my gosh, when I say too black, you say too strong. Too black? Too strong? Yeah. We were born to be great. Oh my gosh, when I say too black, you say too strong. Too black? Born to be great.
Peace, family. Yo, thank you for joining us. Right? And I'm thrilled to announce the fact that we are now releasing our first free e-course. Come and learn about Geometry Journey, see some of the stuff we do. Come and join the tribe. Tribe up with us and check out the free e-course. We'll make sure that the URL pop up right about here. And it'll probably be somewhere in here. Check us out, family, because we are building. Come and learn about Geometry Journey, and let's build together.
It is not an accident, therefore, that many of the goddesses of the Europeans were black. They could have chosen their own women, they chose some of their own women, but the most...
We're about to get it poppin', family. I want to welcome you to GNJMedia. I am Brother Hatim, And we are joined by C. Earl Campbell III. Family, listen, you are in store for an amazing interview. This brother is prepared, he's ready, and he's also brought the documentation. All you got to do is check out his book. We will be posting up the links for you so that you can get it, so that you can keep up with us. Now, without any further ado, here at the Gianni Journey, we want to welcome the one, the only, C. Earl Campbell. Well, C. Earl Allen Campbell. So first off, let's talk about the name because I see the third on there. What is the significance of your pen name, my friend?
Oh, my pen name. Well, let me first say, welcome, family. Thank you for joining me on this interview. C. Earl Campbell III is generally the pen name I published a number of ebooks under, but my father's name was Dudley Allen. And so I wanted to include his name in that. Um, and the DA originally stood for Dudley Allen. And then because I have a son, my son is the third, or he's not officially the third, but I gave him my father's name as well as my name, Charles Dudley Allen Campbell. And so when I chose a pen name, I wanted to, it was C. Earl Campbell III originally. And with this ebook, I added my father's name in there because you always want to represent those folks whose shoulders you stand on.
Oh my God! So the ancestors are very important in the works that you put out.
Definitely, brother. Definitely.
What is the goal of some of the writings that you do? You do writings, you do music, you do poetry. What are you trying to get to the people?
Well, just a way of expressing myself. I think poetry is my first love. I realized that I could take the poetry and turn them into rap songs, even though I don't have the best rap voice. I just wanted to prove that I could be a creator. I could create music. I could create um, poetry, songs, as well as write ebooks. So I've just never allowed myself to have limitations on the creative side.
That's dope. So, family, I just want to let y'all know because he mentioned this ebook thing and this way that we're going into this business. Family, this is an avenue in which we can make a lot of headway. We are bringing C. Earl Campbell III into our Ugenomics network. And we're going to be getting affiliates that's going to be helping push this out. And this is important work. Before we even get into the work, man, tell me a little bit about your background, man. Let us know your education, the other projects that you've been working on, some of the other stuff that you're going to be bringing through this Ugenomic network so that the people can have a feel for you. Because we're going to be bringing you coming back. You know what I'm saying? If I have to come over your house and bring a recorder, you coming back on the show.
No doubt.
But thank you.
Well, I'm originally from Mississippi, so I grew up in the Mississippi Delta. Born in a small town in Tallahatchie County, Vance, Mississippi, and grew up in Tutwiler, Mississippi, on a catfish farm there. And so my background is deep. I've got roots in Kosciuszko, Mississippi, Greenwood, Mississippi, all throughout the Delta. Got a chance to, after graduating high school, went to Northwest Mississippi Junior College. It's a community college now, but at the time it was a junior college. And this left there and went to Jackson State University, where I earned a bachelor's degree in social work. And so I was excited about the profession of social work. Got a chance to come to Ohio State University, where I met you in Columbus, and earned a master's degree in social work. And so I've been working in social work for a while, and then decided I wanted to pivot because I didn't like what I was seeing in the profession of social work. My goal as a social worker was always to help people to help themselves and find a way, particularly to help those in poverty that I could relate to, having grown up in poverty. And I ran into what I call the poverty industrial complex, where there are people making lots of money off of poor people. They have no incentive to actually solve the problem. And I couldn't participate in that. So I had to pivot, as I say in the book, and turn towards technology and some other areas that I wanted to pursue.
So you noticed the pimping that was going on of our community,
No doubt.
and you just
No doubt.
and you decided not to participate.
Yeah, it was.
I mean, that's
Yeah, it was out of
an
urgency, because I saw that technology in the past had displaced Black African American people when the cotton picker, cotton gin, and tractor happened in the South, where a lot of Black folks had to leave the South, and luckily there were manufacturing steel jobs up north. And what I was looking at is in terms of technology coming along, and if that technology happened, what would happen to the jobs that Black African American have if we lost those jobs, and what would happen to our family and to our communities. And for me, that's why I was raising the alarm and trying to engage in a couple startups. One of the ones that I created was the Quiet Resolution, TQR, which I include in the book, which is a national Black plan for our empowerment. Because at the time I looked around and I did not see any of our national leaders with a national comprehensive plan to move Black folks from our social and economic conditions. And to me, that was a sad fact. And so I went to the Million Man March and was excited to go to the first one. But the second one, I chose not to go to because I felt something was wrong with the process. I wanted to see a million Black men start to pool $20 a month each and build an economic and educational foundation for our people. And I realized what we were doing and what our leaders were doing was giving us a pressure relief valve. We would be upset about something, so they would simply call for a march, a protest, or something like that, and Black folks would go out and walk around, hold signs, and then we'd go back and be in the same conditions. And so those kind of things kept happening. And when I tried to communicate TQR to a number of the established Black leaders, none of them would have a conversation with me about it. And so I decided I would pursue this and keep moving forward with it.
Man, brother, I mean, you said a mouthful, because we're starting to see, especially with this COVID-19 piece, that as Black folks, we have made no progress. But I got a question for you. Why do you use the term, because I noticed this in your writing, use the term Black African American?
Well, one of my
what exactly do you mean?
One of my heroes, Dr. Claude Anderson, which I wrote the books Powernomics and Black Label White Wealth. He talked about Black people being a special people. No one has our unique history. Folks who come to this country don't have the same kind of history and background. And so one of the tricks that were played was they created these terms like minority, diversity, and so they lumped Black people into these terms so that everyone could, other people could be classified as minorities, and then they get most of the benefits. I decided to define myself as a Black African American. It combines what I look like, what I am, a beautiful Black man, with that continent which my ancestors are from. And so I choose to define myself. And when I talk about Black people, I talk in terms of Black African American people, because you have some white South Africans who can come to this country and be classified as
African Americans.
And so when I add that term Black African American, that puts us in a special category. And we have to demand, when those things that we have fought for, instead of having our politicians sell us out and put us in a pot, we have to demand those things, particularly when it comes to reparations. And so one of the things I know we should be pursuing is reparations, but I'm so happy that we don't have it right now. because we don't have an infrastructure to turn any of those funds over within our community. Right now, our enemies have left us in a state where when we generate $1.3 trillion estimated this year, that money comes into our pockets and goes right back out to those folks who own businesses in our community. So we don't have the mechanisms to turn those dollars over, and that is a problem. When other groups do have those kind of systems to turn their money over, because when you can turn your resources over, that means you can help improve the social and economic educational conditions, the health conditions in your community. COVID-19 is devastating because it is the perfect virus that negatively impacts Black African Americans. And our leadership today don't have a national rapid response team that is looking for testing and treatments for Black folks. We don't have ability to get food from farmers to our communities. So we are simply waiting at the mercy of other politicians to maybe come along and help us. And that's a situation that I know we should not be in, and we cannot survive as a people, because if white America doesn't have any use for Black African American people, history says that they don't want us around voting and consuming resources if they're not benefiting. So we have to have a system in place where we can take care of ourselves. And that starts with a plan, brother.
Right. Now I got a question for you, because now you sound like you need to be with the ADOS movement. Have you ever heard of that?
I have.
Because now that's based on the same concept that you're talking about, but it categorizes us, rather than using African, it categorizes us using the country in which all of us are, and it separates us away from this jelly bean jar of mixed people. You understand what I'm saying?
I do.
So my question, so I'm just throwing it out there because it kind of, because you say Black African American, a lot of people get confused with that. Why not just use the term ADOS?
Well, for me, being Black, being African American combines all of those terms into perfectly how I define myself. When you say ADOS, if you went to someone and said, "Hey, are you ADOS?" they'd be like, "Oh, what was that?" But if you say, "Are you a Black African American?" People will generally put themselves in one or the other category. I'm an African American, I'm a Black man. And I've just decided that for me, combining those, I have watched a lot of movements, and that's what I'm talking about in terms of the leadership. I'm looking at this crisis to see what leadership is actually stepping up with a plan to address what is happening right now to Black African American people. And I don't see a comprehensive plan. I don't see those who are in leadership coming together and talking about what we can do for ourselves. There is some complaining about what the federal government is doing, what states are doing, but we have to have the ability to step up and take care of our babies, take care of our grandbabies, because they are at risk if we don't step up to try and solve some of the problems that still exist, and they're long-standing problems. And marching and protesting is not going to get it. It hasn't worked. In the 60s, there was some success. I acknowledge that. But even then, the fix was in.
Now, because I'm gonna take it off the ADOS conversation, because you might need to look into that movement, because that is one of those movements that is not based on leadership. It's based on, where we are and what we do. But the whole piece is behind ADOS. It defines, in a sense, a tribe that individuals can work within and find other people's of like mind, because what you're describing is exactly what they on. But we're gonna move off of that because I want to get into this book. What is the art of black war against a black enemy about? What is this book about, man? Come on now, break it down, because we about to get into the fight. We about to get into the meat of this.
Well, I mean, the book.
Because I know you was ready for this.
The book is simply about naming our enemy. I put the subtitle, "To defeat a black enemy, we must identify it." And for most black folks, we don't know who our black enemy is. We don't know this organization was founded in 1904, called Sigma Pi Phi, known as Boule, a fraternity, a black fraternity, a group of elite black men. And some of the names that members of these are who's who of black history. And their organizations was modeled off of Skull and Bones or Phi Beta Kappa, racist white organization, racist white elite organizations. And so the members, the founders of Sigma Pi Phi Boule, they have over 134 chapters. They are everywhere. And what was unique about their strategy, and I have to admit, it was a brilliant strategy. Once they were founded, they then went about founding all 9 of the Black Greek fraternities and sororities. And
hey!
And they set us.
Hey!
They set
watch
in
it,
place,
man.
They put in place bylaws and constitutions within those organizations that allowed Black African American people, particularly educated, college educated men and women, to literally consume energy doing mandated and other social programs, looking busy in the community, but never really touching the problems facing Black African Americans, never touching the serious issues that are facing Black African Americans. The organizations, we have what's called the Pan-Atlantic Council, but even members of the organizations who are involved in that, there is no strategy, no consistent effort by any of these organizations. These organizations, Sigma Pi Phi was also involved in the founding of the NAACP. They were involved in founding of most of the civil rights organizations. So their strategy is a long-term strategy in terms of creating the foundation of Black African American organizations and steering those organizations so that they are toothless tigers when it comes to the things that are hurting Black African American. Not only did that, they actually engaged in the sabotage of Marcus Garvey's movement. Their history is rife with their interference at some of the highest levels of policies that have impacted the Black African American community. And most Black folks have no clue that these group of Black men even exist. That's part of the problem.
So in America is we're driven by the dollar. What is the motivation? I mean, I don't understand why form a group that would work to basically create toothless tigers for a community that you exist in. What sense does that make?
You have to remember the enslavement process. The enslavement process created 2 types of Black people, as I say, 2 primary types of it, as Malcolm X called them, the field Negro, the ones who worked in the field, and the ones who worked in the house, right? Two different types of mindset, one that loved their master and one that literally was trying to get away from the brutality and enslavement. Well, that continued even after the enslavement process. These group of men consider themselves elite. Many of them are well educated, so they are attorneys, they are businessmen, they are physicians, they are well respected throughout history and even today in the community. But most people don't know that they are members of a secret fraternity called Sigma Pi Phi, known as Boule chapters. And that's part of the problem because they they have more income than the average Black African American, but their strategy in terms of what they do, in terms of interfering with the affairs or allowing things to happen in terms of policies to Black African Americans is atrocious. And you have to remember, I include information from the website. So all of the information that I gathered, anyone can research this online and find it. I didn't. There's not a lot. You just have to go a little bit deeper than what the organization website lists, and I list that information so that people can read it for themselves. They actually fund scholarships. They have mentoring programs. They raise money for various causes. I don't doubt that. I think that is more of a recruitment piece to put a really good image, have a public image. But I think the concern is that either they are interfering or they are simply stepping back and allowing policies to happen to Black African Americans. Give you one example. Vernon Jordan, who was a key advisor to Bill Clinton, while Bill Clinton was passing the crime bill that led to the mass incarceration of Black folks. That took more Black men out of the Black community because of that racist law. It has set Black folks back. You can't lose that many men, fathers, uncles out of your community and not see the negative impacts of the loss of those kind of incomes, the loss of that mentorship and that role model. It has an impact. So when you have people at the highest level of government, and many of the Congress people back where I'm from, you have folks like Benny Thompson, who is Mississippi representative. He's a member of Boule, Sigma Pi Phi. Kwesi Mfume, who just won his primary in Baltimore, replacing another Boule member, Elijah Cummings. So you have a lot of these folks who are members of fraternities, and that's where they hide in plain sight. I say they are alphas, they are kappas, they're Qs. Not all of them, but the Sigma Pi Phi Boule, some members are. So they can be up in meetings and their own brothers don't know that they are members of Sigma Pi Phi Boule. So the secrecy has to stop. If you don't have anything to hide, why is it that there's a secret? And so I think in the book, I challenge Black folks to have a conversation, and anyone who is wanting to be your leader or is your leader, ask them to identify themselves if they are a member of Sigma Pi Phi Boule. Because if there's nothing to hide, then why the secrecy? And so,
true.
So I think Black folks have to understand we are so used to looking for leadership, and we have been conditioned to look for a Black face in high place. And too often, members of Sigma Pi Phi are those people who are pushed to the leadership positions so that Black folks feel comfortable knowing that we've got somebody who looks like us, who is supposed to be representing us. So we go back and just think everything's all good. They've got our best interest at heart. That's not true.
All right. Hey, hold on. Now, so you got documentation in your book.
I list
that a person go back and they could check everything you're saying.
I list members. who I could find who are members.
You wait, stop. You telling me? I mean, I looked at the book, right? But you telling me you naming names?
Oh yeah, definitely.
But well, Charles, I got 2 questions for you. Because we're gonna get into some names since you don't mind shouting them out.
Not at all.
But I have a question for you. If this organization is so intricate, so important, so influential, what mechanism do they have in place to make sure that their membership does not, in a sense, do what you're doing right now?
Well, again, I think all of the organizations, all of the fraternities, they have their secrets, their requirements that they want to keep, and so I think this organization was founded on secrecy, and that's how they operate. But many of them they still have the same structure that many of the fraternities have. They put out a monthly or quarterly journal talking about all of the things that members and chapters are doing. Some of them are even bold enough to list their name and their membership on the website or LinkedIn, or you might even find a lot of times you find the names in obituaries after someone has died. Then they list that they were a member of Sigma Pi Phi and what chapter, what boule they were a part of. So I think most of the names I've come across, those names are you can research those names. You
don't get the names yet. Now y'all got to stick around to get the name. He was about to get a name. Don't you do that?
I'm just saying,
hold on.
To me, I think again I go back to you have to defeat your enemy. You must.
You got to know who it is.
If you don't know these people are double dealing or operating with a hidden agenda, then you will make the assumption that they have your best interest, and you will simply allow them to be leaders. But look back over history, Black folks, and compare that to where we are today. We are in a position where COVID-19 is devastating us because, number one, it's targeting us medically because we've been left in a position where we don't have access to quality health. In many of the communities, we don't have access to healthy foods and grocery stores. We work in jobs that are more consuming. Our stress level, our poverty level, all of this is being maintained. And so
you saying that like the fact that's going on in our community is on purpose.
It is by design. Give you an example. We live in Franklin County in Central Ohio, and one of the county commissioners was doing a web platform where he's talking to a couple Black community leaders of the NAACP and I think a local church. And he made a statement that in Franklin County, they provide $100 million a year to address poverty.
And come on, bring it.
In Franklin County, particularly in Columbus and the Black neighborhood, our Black babies are dying at a level that is higher than the national rate. The Black infant mortality is just off the chain. And for 15 years going back, I think this mayor just been reelected, so he's maybe had 5 or 6 years term. But prior to that, we had a boule member as mayor of Columbus for 15 years. Mayor Mike.
Hey man, stop. Go ahead, because you giving names. Come on.
Name in that one leadership, but you can go across the board.
Right.
The problems that Black folks are having and the amount of money that is being allocated toward poverty, that goes back to the issue of what I call the poverty industrial complex, where people are making lots of money, yet the problems Black folks are facing are not being resolved. $100 million in one county every year.
Now check this out. Check this out. Check this out, family. Now, Charles is about to, he is about to give it up. Listen to me. So, now what we're going to do, we're going to take a quick 3-minute break. When I come back, Charles is about to come out and he's going to start mentioning names. So this is what I need y'all to do. Why this little commercial is playing, because you got to make sure that, because GNJMedia needs your support. Because we're going to bring more stuff like this, right? I'm going to do a deal. I'm trying to work on a deal with brother C. Earl, so that we could go on, so I could purchase a group of the books, so that everybody that is a subscribing member of GNJMedia, a supporter, can get access to this book, get this information, so that we can have discussions. Because not only is it important that we know our ancient history, we got to know the current history of what's going on with us. Now, this brother just broke down that there's $100 million going to Franklin County for poverty, and we are not seeing it. We're not able to touch it, and there's other people that are pimping our issues. As I say all the time, we are the footstools of this country, and there needs to be a change. And Brother Charles' book is going to help you identify those that are helping us to stay in the position that we are in. Now, there's a very important piece. So, family, I'm going to take about a 2-minute break. It's going to be 3 minutes. And then, Charles, I need you to go and get your breath on, because when we come back, we're going to talk about some of the members of these organizations. And the key piece I want to understand before we even get into that, because I want you to think about this one deeply, Charles. Why aren't you afraid? Because if we could find out why you're not afraid, maybe it will give other people something they could stand on. And then also, I want to ask this. Now, I'm going to save it. But we're going to take this break. Family, like and share. Get your friends up in here. I'm going to open up the lines. We're going to talk to Charles today.
To have melanin embedded in our skin is a gift.
Oh my gosh, when I say too black, you say too strong. Too black? Too strong? Yeah.
We were born to be great.
Oh my gosh, when I say too black, you say too strong. Too black?
Born to be great.
Peace, family. Yo, thank you for joining us, right? And I'm thrilled to announce the fact that we are now releasing our first free e-course. Come and learn about Gianni's journey, see some of the stuff we do. Come and join the tribe. Tribe up with us and check out the free e-course. We'll make sure that the URL pop up right about here. And it'll probably be somewhere in here. Check us out, family, because we are building. Come and learn about Gianni's journey. And let's
All right. We are back. I'm sitting here with the author of The Art of Black War Against a Black Enemy. Oh my God. Now y'all just saw the commercial. Y'all can check out Geometry Journey. We got the free e-course. And also y'all can support us by going to GNJ Support. I'm going to put up a link right now. You know what I'm saying? We're looking for our mighty 100 because, like I said, family, we want to do, because I just want y'all to understand. We got other people on the West Coast and the East Coast. They all doing their documentaries. But we have the capabilities right here in the Midwest to blow all of them out the goddamn water. You know what I'm saying? Not that there's anything, it's no competition. What I'm saying is what's going on here and the information that's coming to the Midwest, we need to be able to stand up on it. But now I want to get back to Brother Charles. My God, listen here. Brother, first off, why did you write this ebook, man? I mean, it's enough conspiracy stuff out here. And what you're presenting is that there is a group of individuals that are working behind the shadows. Now, and even before you answer that, let me get to this real quick. You ready?
Yeah, go ahead.
How do you know who is in this fraternity? Because I could lie and say that I'm not. Is there a way that you could determine whether or not somebody is in the Boule?
Well, it's a matter of integrity. I mean, you just ask them. When you look at the leadership, and if you do the research, and first let me give a shout out to the late Steve Coakley, a master researcher. He did a lot of this research way before I did, and I mean did it more thoroughly. This is a short ebook. It's about 8 chapters, about maybe between 50 and 60 pages. So it's a short read.
It's 67 pages. Hold on. It's 67 pages, and that is not short for an ebook.
Well, I didn't want to,
Mr. Earl.
I didn't want to bog folks down with all of the research, because what I'm saying, if you're really wanting to research this, you can find a lot of this information online, find all of the information online that I found. So Steve Coakley did a masterful job of exposing that group way back when. But you have to remember, Sigma Pi Phi, they were founded in 1904. This is 2020. So they've been at this for a while. They're not rookies at this. You're talking about over 10,000 members, over 134 boules or chapters. These folks are organized, and they are in positions at every level of the government, from federal, state, local, county. They are in our churches. They are in our fraternities. They are connected throughout the Black community. So that's the challenge. They have integrated themselves. So if you want to know who they are, I would say if you suspect them, ask them. And if one of the things I say in the meeting, say in the book, is that if you're having grassroots meetings or any type of organized meetings, you want those folks who are members of Sigma Pi Phi to identify themselves, not for any purpose, but you need to know that they are there and they're operating, because a lot of times they are in these meetings. They want to know exactly what's going on in the Black community, just in case it threatens the white elite organizations who are the true power brokers. So their motto is advisors to the king. Well, the kings are
right. That's what that means.
The kings are the white elite organization. These aren't Klans members or any of that nonsense. These are the shot callers, the big ballers in every state, in every city, in every county. You're not going to find those folks walking around with hoods. And as a matter of fact, they are the captains of industries, the titans of industry in your city. But their job, the Boule simply advises them about what's going on in the Black community so that they can engineer strategy. They are literally planning 10, 20 years ahead what's going to happen within the Black community. And so we don't have that kind of leadership that is thinking long-term planning for our own economic, educational, health, our survival as a people. And that's part of the problem. When you don't have leadership that has a plan, then you know it's poor leadership. Anyone who, whether it's a pastor or a mayor or alderman or city council, these folks should have some kind of plan to solve problems that particularly Black folks have. If they are a Black leader, if they have no plan, if they have no solution, then they're not probably your leaders. You probably need to get new leadership. And the only way we're going to have new leadership is to identify young folks within our community, college educated folk or not educated, just folks who have the courage to stand up. You asked me about, why I'm not afraid.
Yeah, that was the next question. Why are you not afraid?
And the reason is, as a Black African American man, these babies, these Black babies and grandbabies that we have, somebody has to be looking out for them, right? Throughout history, I looked towards folks who had the moral courage to stand up and stand in the gap for our people. These are people I admired, and some of them were even Boule members that I list on this in the book. So what I'm looking at as a Black African American man, I have a responsibility for my people. My purpose, my reason for being on this planet, all of the things that my father, my grandmother, my great-grandmother, my ancestors endured, I got a responsibility to step up, to try and make a difference in the lives of those who are coming behind me. These babies and grandbabies, they are born into these systems with
right,
and someone has to stand up. And I always say, so you have to be careful who you hang out with, because courage and cowardice are contagious. You hang around with a group of folks who are always afraid, then you're never going to do anything because you're afraid. You hang around with a group of folks who like solving problems, like standing up, like speaking truth to power, then that's what's going to be in your DNA. And so for me, it's a responsibility. It's not just I'm just using my intellect, my knowledge, and my gifts to try and solve problems, try and solve real problems.
Charles,
go ahead.
You do know that, I mean, maybe you don't know, but GNJMedia Journey is planning, us and our family, our tribes, we're planning to take over Columbus by 2023. And I'm just telling you that so that when we have further discussions, you can understand where I'm coming from. I'm not coming from that cowardly place, because you hit it on the nail here. If you hang with a tribe of cowards, you're going to be initiated into cowardice. And a lot of us are in tribes of cowards. Now, but I'm saying, bro, you really need, this is recruitment. You need to really check out the ADOS chapter in Columbus. I'm just letting you know. I'm gonna give you some numbers and stuff like that. But dog, but hold on. All right. So you explain why you're not afraid of this organization, because actually we have no choice. As warrior and as men, if we want to make stuff better for our children, family, you got no choice. Don't give a damn, your car payment, your house payment, all that shit comes to nothing if you cannot leave legacy for your children. That's what we talk about all the time when we're doing the Daily Toast. That's what it's about, family. It's not about your comfort. It's not about that. It's about us being able to expand upon the stuff that our ancestors left us. We got to leave space, time, and resources. And our cowardice takes away resources, allow people to come into our community, take away our resources. It allows people to come into our community and take our space. And it allows people to take our last stand. It allows them to take our time. So if you're a coward, then of course you don't need to hear this. But we're talking to those few, because it only take a few, because just like cowardice is a virus, courage can be viral as well. As viral as COVID-19. And Brother Charles, man, you a flaming example. And we're gonna push these books off, family. Y'all need to get up in here. Y'all need to support this brother, because we're gonna put up the link As a matter of fact, Charles, I don't know if you are monitoring this on social media or whatever, but you need to put your link up in there because you know Brother Hatim already put his link up in there. But I'm just trying to keep it all the way 100 with you. We need to put the link up because people need to get hold of this book.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Now, family, when we talk about the Ujanomics Network, this is another aspect of us trying to build with us. Cause now, I mean, he done hit some great points. Why should we know? I mean, well, you kind of identify that because I was about to know why should we know about this enemy? You know what I'm saying? Because if we don't know about this enemy, we always lose. Because in Art of War it says, if you know yourself and you don't know your enemy, you'll win 50% of the time. If you know your enemy but you don't know yourself, and that's the position a lot of us here in America is in, you'll lose 50% of the time. But if you take time to know yourself and take time to know your enemy, you'll win 100% of the time. And Charles is giving us a blueprint so that we can understand the enemies. Now, there's another piece a lot of us don't understand. Before we can actually deal with the outside forces, we got to deal with the inside forces that are working against us. It's called a purge. But all right, what do you think of? What do you think about that?
And I say that, you know, Black folks are a brilliant people. White racism or white institutions cannot hold Black folks down. They have not been able, and only in conjunction with those of us inside our community who are operating against our own best interests, it's what keeps us in our current social and economic position. So my thing is that you just have to know these folks, know who they are, and I say they're not going anywhere. And to me, I don't care if they don't. I mean, I think they have some resources. So if they decided that they wanted to stand up and protect the interests of Black African American people, if they seriously wanted to help us solve problems within their organization, they've got resources and connections where they could do just that. They could literally become an ally of Black African American people rather than an enemy. But that's a choice. That is a choice. At the end of the day, they are still responsible. Their organizational structure is still responsible to the kings that they advise. And I'm not sure that those folks would allow them to have that kind of courage to be an ally to Black African American people. But
they're gonna call in. They're going to call in them mortgages and them house notes.
Well,
they ain't going to be able to pay for the kids to go to them elite schools. But go ahead.
I'm always hopeful. But when you talk about one organization that has about 10,000 or so members, compare that to the 43, 45 million Black folks we have. And so even despite that, we have the numbers. If we were able to organize ourselves around good principles of leadership, where you define the leader as a person, a Black African American leader, as a person who comes with a plan, is able to execute that plan that solves the problem. Now, if you have congressmen and senators and presidents and aldermen in war, they, number one, have no plan to address the problem or solve the problem. And they have been in there in office 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30 years. And they have not solved any Black problem. They are not a good Black leader. And Black folks have to begin to challenge our leadership to solve problems. Don't just talk about the problems, because what they are good at doing is talking about how bad the problems are, but coming up with no solution. And so the old strategy is that I'll have a meeting to see who's the most upset. Let them blow off steam, maybe yell and cuss a bit, but then they go right back to their condition. And so we allow that to happen because most of the time, the organization that's calling the meeting probably doesn't have your best interest at heart. If they're going to call a meeting just for a rap and tap session, Tavis Smiley was good at this a few years ago. Had these dog and pony shows where you bring all of these wonderful, intelligent, educated Black folks together, and they get to do their 1 or 2 liners and get the rap and clap. and then they go home and do it again the next year, and do it again the next year, and then they come up maybe with a book that sells, but no change, no visible, real change in the Black community. That's how we know, or you know, in your community, in your state, in your county, in your city, in your country, where you have poor Black leadership. And we've got to call it for what it is: poor Black leadership. And we have to demand that those folks who are in leadership solve some damn problem, or in the book I say, tell them to shut the hell up.
You could cuss? No, I said for you, shut the fuck up. You know what I'm saying? Listen, Charles ain't really C. Earl is not really a big cusser. Brother Hatim, I cuss up a storm, family. You know what I'm saying? This is GNJMedia. This is our thing, Cat N. So, family, feel free to express yourself, because I want you to get this off. So now I'm going to my list of questions, because, like I said, because I after looking at this and after listening to it, you brought up Marcus Garvey and how the Boule helped to stop Marcus Garvey.
Yeah,
have you found? Hold on. Let me ask my question. You go back to Marcus Garvey. Go and describe how they were involved in that. But are there other incidents in our history where they have betrayed us that you have found?
Yeah, I mean, I list when I talk about Marcus Garvey. You actually had a Boule member who tried to assassinate him, and they were instrumental in trying to disrupt his movement. And so there are lots of incidents like this in history where they have been involved, including the civil rights movement, including snitching and working with the FBI, J. Edgar Hoover, against any effort that Black folks had trying to solve our own problems or come together and organize ourselves. And so you have these members who are in position and simply don't do any of the things that they could. One of the members was or is Eric Holder Jr., Obama's Attorney General. And you saw what happened with all of the killings of Black men. Obama held in the first year of his term, he held a beer summit. You remember the beer summit with Boule member Henry Louis Gates and the white police officer?
Right. You called it the beer summit.
Yeah, the beer summit. I mean, but following that, it was like open season and on Black African Americans people, and you have a Boule member sitting as the Attorney General, Eric Holder Jr., and not implementing policy that hold racist prosecutors and racist law enforcement officers accountable for shooting unarmed Black men in this country. So you see, a number of those kind of things happening, and there was no legislation proposed by any of the congressmen that we have to try and address this. So again, failure after failure after failure, and most of the time, if you search deep enough, you'll discover that members of Sigma Pi Phi had some authority or some influence at the highest level doing this. Another incident, Dr. Robert Moulton, a member of Sigma Pi Phi fraternity, participated in the 30-year racist Tuskegee syphilis experiment on Black African American men by the U.S. Department of Health and Center for Disease Control, CDC. So, when you really drill down, some of the members in this organization has been involved in some things that are horrible as it relates to Black African American people. And most people don't know who these people are or have never heard of this organization. I'm a member of Omega Psi Phi fraternity, and you have members of our organization who don't know who these cats are, because we're never taught that they were the first fraternity. We're always taught about Alpha Phi Alpha, which was created by Boule members in 1906, but we never talk about 1904 Sigma Phi fraternity that started it all. And so, you know, if you don't know these jokers, if you don't know what they're about, and I do call them jokers because I mean, I just when you look at some of the history and some of the things that have gone wrong, they could have been better black men than what they are, and that is just horrible. And I get it when you see yourself as separate and elite, your status, you're involved with a group, you don't want to you want to be seen different. And when I talk about it in the book, because most of the members, you know, they're selected probably uh, right out of college, or you know, while they're young men. And so, as I talk about one of the members, when you look at their who's list, and you ask anyone if you want to be in the same organization as those folks on that list, any young man would say, "Yeah, I'd like to be that," not knowing the true history, right? And many of them are legacy. So their fathers and grandfathers and great grandfathers were a part of that. So they grew up in the lifestyle, and so they don't know the true history and nature of what they're getting themselves into. And at some point, you know, when they're called on to, you know, play their role. Some of them do it willingly. Maybe some of them reject. But there is precedent in history, I think, when members go off script, that they meet an untimely death.
So there is a consequence for violating.
I think there is, in terms of if you're going off script as it relates to the Kings that they advise. So the Kings, the white race's elite organization, have an agenda, and they don't expect anyone to oppose that agenda and not carry that agenda out when called on to do so.
All right, now Charles, this is the challenge now. Give us some members that are famous nationally and locally. Let's start nationally first, and then we'll bring it home.
I mean, let me pull my list up. I mean, you can.
Is the list in the book?
It's in the book. I mentioned, you know, Kwesi Mfume, who is going to run for. He's going after his seat again.
Not Sunday born.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Folks may know Earl Gray Sr., the founder of Black Enterprise. I'm sure folks are familiar with Dr. Carter G. Woodson.
No, man, he was Omega Psi Phi too.
Yeah. I'm sure folks are familiar with Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., Clarence Thomas, David Dinkin, Arthur Ashe. And so those are just a number of folks. Al Sharpton.
How about up to date? Oh, Al Sharpton, cool. That's what I'm gonna get to. I'm gonna get today. If I'm looking at TV today, I'm looking at YouTube today, I'm looking at what's going on in media today. Give me some of those. Give me some people that are active right now. Was Obama Omega?
Was he? I mean, any proof of Obama being a member? But Robert F. Smith, who paid off all of his Morehouse class graduations. Vernon Jordan, as I mentioned.
Kwesi Mfume was you mentioned too.
Yeah, John H. Johnson, Ebony Jett. My fraternity brothers will know this name, Ernest E. Just, our founder member. And I can say,
man, you might not be able to go. You might not be able to go to no party soon, brother.
So what I'm saying is that these folks, you know, I don't know what the circumstances of them joining. They're simply listed as members, and I know from my research what the organization has been involved in. And I think that, like I say, there's an opportunity for those folks who are members to do the right thing, to not remain secret if they're going to be involved in the affairs of Black folks. But it's up to Black folks. And the reason I wrote this book, because Black folks will never make any progress unless we know who our enemies are and we have a strategy for identifying them, and we have a plan. Most importantly, in this book, I list the plan.
Oh, we're gonna get we gonna get to the plan, because you jumped over the most important part. Locally, come on, bro.
Locally here in Columbus.
Now, for those that don't know, we are in Columbus, Ohio. Locally,
like I mentioned, the past mayor of Columbus was a member. You have
you talking about Coleman?
Yeah, Michael B. Coleman. You have folks like oh, who else? Hold on, let me pull up the list. Famous judge named Robert Duncan. You have folks like
how about big business people? Any big business people?
Oh yeah.
Any big? I mean, you know, because you know, I mean, we see certain contracts going to certain people. Yeah. Could it be that they, you know, what I'm saying, that they are in a network that's designed to make sure that only their crew get this?
Well, I don't know. I just, you know, the names I came up with: Alice Shoemate. You have David Hamler. Louis R. Smoot. Those are local folks here.
Wait, stop. Who? You said Smoot?
Louis.
Because everywhere I go, I be seeing the Smoot trucks around doing construction.
Yeah. So wherever I can tell you, wherever you see Black folks in elite positions with money, Arthur R. James, Dr. James, Dr. Wilbur A. Weddington and his son, W. Carlton Weddington. So you have folks locally who are members. Remember, these organizations go way back to 1904. And so these folks have been around, their chapters have been around. Columbus chapter is Lambda chapter, you know, like all of the fraternities and sororities, each chapter gets a Greek letter name after the Greek letters. So and then they go on and use the second letter, and then after that runs, of course, even a third letter. There are over at least there are 134 chapters. I think I was able to find maybe 132, list them and the cities. Because if you live in an area where a significant number of Black African Americans are, there's probably a boule there in your area or in your city.
Somebody wrote Espy.
Huh?
Ben Espy? Yes. Ben Espy?
Yes, locally. Yep. So you have you have a number of these folks, but the more famous ones, I mean, you like I said, there are over 10,000 members. You've got some that are more well known, but in every Black community, you have these folks, and some are well known, some are not so well known. But the challenge is to identify those members who are interfering or ignoring the pain and suffering that Black folks are going through, and just demand that they stop interfering, or if they're going to be leaders, that they solve problems. And so I think you can quickly, you know, if you start demanding that these folks solve problems, they will quickly get out of the way, because their job is probably not to solve the problem. Maybe send in another person to bamboozle you.
They act like they're solving the problem, right?
But the proof is in the pudding. I mean, we know what our problems are, and we know what solutions look like, and we have to simply demand solutions. But more so, we've got to be engaged in solving problems for ourselves, and demand that those folks not interfere with what we're trying to do, because sabotage and deceit is how most efforts of Black African American uplift empowerment get thwarted. those folks come in with deceit, with sabotage, with a strategy designed to consume all of your energy and your time. These folks have all of the time in the world. So when they pop up, they're not salary, hourly people. These folks have access to wealth and positions. They are appointed to really big positions, or their wives are appointed to really big positions. But you know them because they're in these positions and they don't solve any problems for Black African American people. A lot of times they want to focus on minorities and people of color.
People of color, POC. I hate them terms. Yeah. I hate them terms.
But that's when you. But now let me know there's a problem.
Now let me ask you this, because because I want to open up these lines, and I want you to briefly, because I want you to come back on and talk about the quiet resolution. I want to do a whole show on the quiet resolution. But you have, not only do you present an issue, like you said, because you're not doing like some of the people that you was describing. You ain't just describing the problem. You came up with a formula for solving it. So, in brief, because we'll come back, because I want to do a whole show on this. What is your resolution for dealing with issues like the boule and some of the other issues that's going on in our community?
Well, with the quiet resolution, the quiet resolution is a comprehensive national Black empowerment plan. So as I talked about, we've got to have a plan, and it's focused on creating 5 institutes that deal with specific areas that Black folks are having, like education, security, political, legal. The social medical research is one institute. The economic development, because if we don't have a plan to address some of the issues, then that's not good leadership. And I don't want to talk about those who are not leading and not create something that people can look at. So there's a website that people can go look at. It's www.tqr.com, and they can actually take a look at the. And I also include a chapter in the book that lays out what it is I'm interested in doing. And to fund TQR, I launched a renewable energy company called Allen Hydro Energy Corporation. I received a U.S. patent for a new type of power plant, where I designed a hydroelectric dam in a 70-story building. And so having the ability to construct power plants all over the world and generate electricity and sell that energy for a flat fee is my strategy for trying to generate seed funding to fund TQR. But again, I would hope that other Black leaders come up with a plan. I think Black people have the ability to fund any of our plan, because if you let other folks fund your plan for your uplift and empowerment, it is doomed to fail. So this is something we have to put skin in the game on or in, and support what we need, what hasn't been done. And so this is the plan that I've created. Other folks, in terms of Black leaders, should be creating similar plans. And Black folks, out of the 43 million, 5 million can fund one, and 5 million can fund another, 5 million can fund some other plan. So we have to have plans and strategies to address the problems that we are facing. And this is my pathway to doing that. A few years back, I applied for a stimulus grant with the Obama administration. They weren't interested, and they rejected the $2 million stimulus proposal of mine. And then they gave one company, Solyndra Solar, $535 million grant to build solar panels. And that company went bankrupt after 1 year. And so I felt like Black folks had really made an investment in the Obama administration, and politics is quid pro quo, despite what some people want to believe. We give them our vote. We are supposed to get something in return: access to resources, policies that empower us. And then I was told just to contact the state of Ohio Department of Commerce, and contacted them. They didn't have any resources for what I was trying to do, despite having created Third Frontier and allocated them having over $1 billion for advanced energy. And then I ran into what I suspect are some Boulay members in the SEC division who forced me to stop raising, forced me to sign a cease and desist order so that I could not raise capital in the state of Ohio. And the attorney for them actually told me that it was illegal and unethical what they were doing, but because I didn't have the resources to fight them, I said, fine, I'll find capital someplace else. So these are the kind of games that are being played at a very high level when you're not shucking and jiving. When you are competing in the marketplace with innovative ideas, they've got to do things like this. And one of the things about me, you know, I love inventing, I love creating new ideas, I love technology. So I keep moving forward. I keep moving forward, trying to solve problems. I'm not going to dwell on some of the negative stuff that happens. You just have to keep moving forward because life is a little bit too short, as we all know with COVID-19, to be dwelling on things. You have to keep moving forward. So TQR, it is a national Black empowerment plan. It's a model for what Black folks should be demanding from other people who are either elected, anointed, appointed, who say that they are your leaders. Demand that they solve a problem. Ask them to prove that they are a leader. If they can't solve a problem, they're not a leader. And most of the time, the games
they're spokesperson.
Right. Most of the time,
games
that are being played with Black African American people is that they give us programs instead of resources. The program, they can control the funding and control the board and the leadership of that. They control the strings of the organization. And what I discovered, when you have programs that are effective, programs that are working well, making a difference,
they get rid of them.
Those programs start to lose funding, or that something goes down where those programs are eliminated, because you can't have a model of something working
that works,
where Black folks
are
solving their own problems, because Black folks will look at that model and say, hey, let's try this over here. Because the problems that we're having in our community are cross-nationally. Same problems they're having in Columbus are the same problems they have in Cleveland, Cincinnati, all over the country. You name it, Black folks are suffering. And the solution...
Dr. Kelsey used to say, they will only fund you. They will only give you enough money to fail.
Yeah.
If they give you money.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And family, just look around you. We get a lot of programs, right? But we don't get the resources. When it comes to giving Black folks resources, they don't do it at all. But yo, Brother Charles, listen, I want to open up the lines for a couple of minutes, but we're going to come back, and the next show, I want to do a whole show, so get ready on the TQR. And also, we need to get the TQR up in that Ugenomics network, so we going to get some affiliates and start pushing this out so people can see your plan. You know what I'm saying? Because, I mean, I think the brother was giving it up today. I want to give him a black hand. I want the crowd, the Gianni Journey spiritual crowd that's here right now, to give this man a round of applause.
Well, I appreciate that, family.
Man. So, family, we opening up the lines. 614-556-4535. We have C. Earl Campbell Da III right here, right now. You know what I'm saying? You could call in and you could ask him the questions. And if not, then we'll call it a night and we will bring him back. I'm trying to get y'all to get up out this shyness. Brother Kwame says board members of so-called Black institutions here in Columbus or mid-Ohio. Possible boule, possible wannabes, possible individuals that are not working in our best interest, family. When we talk about leadership, a leader is somebody that stands up for you, and as C. Earl has broke down for us, solves problems. If they go in office and they leave office and the same problems that plagued you are there, either they didn't try or they wasn't very good at solving the problem. And we always need to be looking for people like that. So once again, call in 9-614-556-4535. Once again, that's 614-556-4535. Make sure you like, make sure you share, make sure you click the notification so that you know when Giami Journey is going live, because this is only one of the talented people that we're going to be bringing you, family. It is our goal to bring you information on a daily basis, but we need your help to do it. We need your help to do it. We need your support to do it. So I just posted up the link to the brother's book, and the name of the book, The Art of Black War Against a Black Enemy. And in there, now, Charles, let me ask this: is the Quiet Resolution in there?
Yeah, TQR is a chapter 7 in the book. And so I wanted folks to understand what a plan looked like, what specific areas, because too often when I talk about a national comprehensive plan, too often you have those folks who just want to focus on economic development because they know that, hey, us turning our money over is a big problem, but it's more than just about our money. The education we get, the training that we get, the health care, the legal and political system, and security for our business and our leaders in our communities. All of those are important components. So when you have a plan, a comprehensive plan, you've got different components that work together, and they can work together in any city as well as all over. So you've got a national plan that's connected, so resources can be distributed where there is a need. And so
right.
if this is not the plan, then you've got all these other Black organizations should be coming up with a plan if they are a national organization that is about your leadership.
Brother Kwame says, I say we back those who work in our best interest and concertedly know those who don't. Family, I got the lines open. We have them here. I don't want y'all calling me afterwards saying, I wanted to ask the brother this. I wanted to ask the brother that. But now, when you get the book, you can also get his email address. And you can ask questions that way too. Because in our Ujanomics network, we are going to be in communication with our tribe. We building a tribe, family. And we got some powerful individuals coming. We got some powerful e-courses coming. We got some powerful books coming. We got some powerful documentaries coming. We got some powerful animation coming. All of them are geared towards nation building. This brother just laid out the enemies, the possible enemies, because he kind of left it open-ended, because he ain't coming like some people being like, oh, they just specifically, because we could see that somewhere along the lines, Martin Luther King wasn't on script.
And,
and
you've had,
and there's other people that he pointed out that wasn't on script.
And I think when you have folks like Dr. Carter G. Woodson too, those are folks who go off script as they become older and look at the problems that you have. So I'm not condemning all of the folks who are members of the organization who have done great things in their later years. I'm simply saying that as an organization, it was founded on some jacked up principles, and they.
What are the principles? What are the principles that they were built up on?
Well, they were advisors to the king. They wanted to model themselves after Skull and Bones and racist organizations like Phi Beta Kappa back in 1904. Looking at what they were doing, they were trying to set themselves apart as an elite secret society, and then they proceeded to found all of the Black Greek sororities and fraternities and laid in foundations in those organizations that don't allow them to this day to seriously engage in the problems facing Black African Americans. Yet they spend all of this time and energy doing mandated programs every year that don't touch what is really happening to Black folks in a comprehensive, a significant way. So you see the problems continue to go on and on and on. despite all of the talent that we have, all of the educated Black men and women, we are capable of solving problems, but the structure under which we organize ourselves, the principles
it's
laid
not designed
in,
right,
and that just causes folks to spin their wheels until they get burnt out.
So these fraternal organizations that were formed, are you proposing that they were like a feeder group where they could go through, and because those individuals went through initiation, they would be able to kind of pick the best out the crop?
Yeah, that's exactly. And they really wanted a college experience for their kids to be in an organization, and you get an opportunity when you found all of the organizations, both the fraternities and sororities, you set in place and you lock that in place when you're involved in the founding of the Urban League and SCLC and the NAACP. You look at the effectiveness of all of those organizations that are Black organizations, and you compare them to the Black problems that we're having in our community, and ask what problems are they seriously solving. It's amazing that you can't get one religious organization in one community to all come together, pool their money, and start a bank and create economics for their own community. That's the kind of nonsense that you have, and it makes Black folks just look incompetent and incapable of addressing and solving our own problems, because we're looking to leadership, and that leadership has an agenda that is not about our uplift and empowerment.
All right. So we opened up the lines. People scared. You got them scared.
I hope not, family. I hope not.
No. But those will be the ones that be the secret buyers, because they want to know. I don't want to expose, because my boss might be Boule, or the president of the board of my company might be Boule. You know what I'm saying? So they ain't gonna come out loud. So family, I understand. Like you call it the TQR. What is it? Is it TQR?
Yeah,
the quiet resolution.
You
know what I'm saying? Because when the Boule built, they wasn't loud about it. We gonna beat it. No. They was moving in silence.
And one of the things.
So family,
one of the things
go ahead.
Listed in the book is the chapters that I was able to locate. So they are everywhere, from Beta Gamma Boule of Jackson, Mississippi, to Beta Kappa Boule of Birmingham, Alabama. You name the location where there's Black folks, you got a chapter there. And so if you get the book and you identify there's a chapter in your area, 9 times out of 10, you probably know someone who is a member but don't know that they are a member. Like I say, they hide in plain sight. There's Kappas, Qs, Sigmas, Iotas. That's how they hide in plain sight.
What about the Freemason Society?
I mean, I'm sure they're members. I don't have a lot of information on that in terms of that, but they are involved with all of the organizations that are in these Black communities, because you can only subjugate and control what is happening to Black folks by being in these organizations, knowing what's going on, and having your thumb on the pulse of the Black community, so you can quickly move to leadership position anytime Black folks are upset, want to march, want to protest. You've got to lead that effort so that it doesn't disrupt the economics of those in power and those who are elite.
All right. So family, we want to give Brother Earl Campbell Da III, the Black Hand, from our spiritual audience, and from those of you out there. He will be back. We inviting you back. You part of the family, you part of the tribe now, Charles. So, hey, we about to kick it. We about to build family. Get his book. We'll be posting up the commercial. He gonna put it up on Gianni Journey. I already got, you know what I'm saying, but He got a website and all that, family. Go and support. Now, I'm going to put on this commercial and we are out. Family, I want to thank y'all for tuning in to GNJMedia. Thank you for being in the congregation of the mighty, the home of the stubborn minority, the place where your hustle builds muscle. This is GNJMedia. Y'all heard them. Raise them in the way that they should go. Of course, you know this has been a Heart of a Simmer production, and this has been GNJMedia Presents, and we were joined by the honored guest, right? That man was giving it up. Brother C. Earl Campbell Da III. And of course, you know, there's a Heart of a Simmer production, where we strive to blow up your old paradigm.
To have melanin embedded in our skin is a gift.
Oh my gosh, when I say too black, you say too strong. Too black, too strong. Yeah.
We were born to be great.
Oh my gosh, when I say too black, you say too strong. Too black.
Born to be great.
Peace, family. Yo, thank you for joining us, right? And I'm thrilled to announce the fact that we are now releasing our first free e-course. Come and learn about Gianni's journey, see some of the stuff we do. Come and join the tribe. Tribe up with us and check out the free e-course. I'm going to make sure that the URL pop up right about here. And it'll probably be somewhere in here. Check us out, family, because we are building. Come and learn about Gianni's journey, and let's build together.
Word from the wise, never catch girls among swine. It's just a waste of time, cause they can't see you shine when you walk amongst the blind. Even when you reflect divine. Word from the wise, never catch girls among swine. It's just a waste of time, cause they can't see you shine when you walk amongst the blind. Even when you reflect divine. Say, the truth is what I'm about to bring. Listen to the message I sing. I want to shine like diamond ring for you. The truth is what I'm about to bring. Listen to the message I sing. I want to shine like diamond ring